So yesterday, guys, former President Donald Trump was shot in the right ear at his campaign rally in Pennsylvania and Butler, Pennsylvania, to be specific. And of course, it's shocking everybody around the world. Now, Donald Trump, he's been since released from the hospital. Donald Trump is a trooper, guys. Earlier today, the White House released a photo of Donald Trump receiving a briefing with Homeland Security and law enforcement in the Situation Room. Now, the rally attendee who was killed has been identified as Corey Comer. He was a firefighter from Pennsylvania and a father described as a girl dad. Comer was shot while trying to protect his family, unfortunately, and Donald Trump is not expected to speak publicly today as he is traveling to Milwaukee for the Republican National Convention as planned. So in spite of the wild and life-threatening scene yesterday, Donald Trump is not quitting. Donald Trump, literally, Secret Service wanted to haul Donald Trump away after being struck in the ear, but Donald Trump refused to be pulled away. He fought to allow himself to be able to put his hand up in the air and, make a fist and basically fist bump and let the crowd know that he is okay and that he's still fighting, and he's clearly not scared. He put himself in harm's way just to let the crowd know that he was good. And the train is still going to move forward. The Trump train is moving forward. The Republican Donald Trump is still on schedule to attend the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee tomorrow. So, yeah, everything's still going on as planned. The shooter was taken down this morning. Donald Trump posted on Truth Social, emphasizing the importance of unity. Matter of fact, take a look at what Donald Trump actually said here on his Truth Social post.
This morning, Trump posted on Truth Social, "In this moment, it is more important than ever," he said, "that we stand united and show our true character as Americans, remaining strong and determined and not allowing evil to win." Again, we're waiting for the president. Here he is. He's entering the...
So we're definitely going to listen to President Joe Biden because Joe Biden actually just spoke with Donald Trump this morning. Basically, he expressed his gratitude. Now, a lot of folks are already kind of pinning the blame on Democrats, Biden. I'm not here to speculate on what caused this, like what was the motive behind the shooter, but I do want to hear directly from Joe Biden, since he has just spoken with President Biden or former President Donald Trump recently on the phone. So let's hear from Joe Biden and see what he has to share with us.
Roosevelt Room, accompanied by top cabinet officials, including the vice president. Let's listen.
Last night, I spoke with Donald Trump. I'm sincerely grateful that he's doing well and recovering, and we had a short but good conversation. Jill and I are keeping him and his family in our prayers. We also extend our deepest condolences to the family of the victim who was killed. He was a father. He was protecting his family from the bullets that were being fired, and he lost his life. God love him. We're also praying for the full recovery of those who were injured. And we're grateful to the Secret Service agents and other law enforcement agencies and individuals who risked their lives literally for our nation. As I said last night, there is no place in America for this kind of violence, or any violence for that matter. An assassination attempt is contrary to everything we stand for as a nation, everything. It's not who we are as a nation. It's not America. And we cannot allow this to happen. Unity is the most elusive goal of all, but nothing is important than that right now, unity. We'll debate and we'll disagree. That's not going to change, but we're going to not lose sight of the fact who we are as Americans. Look, Vice President Harris and I were just briefed in the Situation Room by my Homeland Security team, including the Director of the FBI, the Secretary of Homeland Security, the Attorney General, the Director of the Secret Service, my Homeland Security Advisor, the National Security Advisor, and we're going to continue to be briefed. The FBI is leading this investigation, which is still in its early stages. We don't yet have any information about the motive of the shooter. We know who he is. I urge everyone everyone, please, don't make assumptions about his motives or his affiliations. Let the FBI do their job and their partner agencies do their job. I'm instructed that this investigation be thorough and swift, and the investigators will have every resource they need to get this done. Look, as this investigation continues, here's what we're going to do. First, Mr. Trump, as a former president and nominee of the Republican Party, already receives a heightened level of security. And I've been consistent in my direction of the Secret Service to provide him with every resource, capability, and protective measure necessary to ensure his continued safety. Second, I've directed the head of the Secret Service to review all security measures for the Republican National Convention, which is scheduled to start tomorrow. And third, I've directed an independent review of the national security at yesterday's rally to assess exactly what happened. And we'll share the results of that independent review with the American people as well. And finally, I'll be speaking more about this tonight at greater length from the Oval Office. We must unite as one nation. We must unite as one nation to demonstrate who we are. And so may God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, when you spoke to President Trump yesterday, what did he tell you, sir?
Look at Biden.
Mr. President,
See, I thought it was kind of funny because I was looking at Joe Biden as he kind of paused as the reporters started asking questions. It was almost as if he was waiting to see what the question was to determine if he was actually going to answer it or not. And then he was like, nah, I don't like that question. I'm going to go ahead and bounce. Anyway, so you saw you had Vice President Kamala Harris there. You got Attorney General Merrick Garland, Secretary of, Homeland Security. In the Situation Room, but Biden did mention that the FBI is leading this investigation. He's urging everyone not to make any kind of assumptions about, basically the shooter's motives. But people are going to do that anyway. They're going to make their assumptions. I'm going to make my own personal assumptions. You're going to make your assumptions. Now, Biden said that he directed the head of Secret Service to review all the security measures for the upcoming Republican National Convention. And also Biden's planning to address the nation from the Oval Office later tonight. I don't know. What do you guys think here? What do you guys think? I have a hard time picturing Joe Biden and Donald Trump having a conversation over the phone. And I also have a hard time picturing it being a real genuine conversation. Like it's just hard for me to imagine Joe Biden actually giving a crap about Donald Trump. I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong. And if I'm Donald Trump, and if I'm Donald Trump, I'm almost like, not really feeling any kind of like genuineness from Biden about him, pretending to care if I'm alive or not. Because of course, if I'm not, then, he would pretty much automatically win the election. So, it's tough. It's tough for me to really, to buy that. But what I did find interesting here was this excerpt, this article from CNN, and CNN again for you guys here. And I know how much you guys don't care for CNN, but this is something I wanted to cover with you guys. What we know about the Trump gunman. So the thing is that I don't like about what I'm about to share with you guys is look at the direction that they go with this article, right? So this is allegedly the guy who, did the act, right? So it says here, a 2020 yearbook photo shows Thomas Matthew Crooks, who law enforcement officials say tried to assassinate former President Donald Trump at a Pennsylvania rally this weekend, right? But here's what I don't like. Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, right? The gunman, look at the start. This is the start of the article. This is the very beginning. Never mind the fact that, Donald Trump got shot, right? The gunman who allegedly tried to assassinate former President Donald Trump was bullied in high school and didn't fit in with other students. Former classmates told CNN on Sunday. That's how they start the article off. Now, I want you guys to tell me, what do you think about that? What do you think about that, right? The reason I bring this up is because this to me looks like an immediate sympathy bait to garner oh, he was bullied in school, he was bullied in high school and didn't fit in with other students. Come on, CNN. You're telegraphing the past. This is what I see when I see stuff like this, right? You're basically, it looks like CNN is trying to say, hey, this kid should get a pass because he was bullied in school. Dude, I was bullied in school. You don't see me out here doing none of this crazy nonsense. I'm pretty sure there's a good percentage of viewers right now who were bullied in school at some point, who ain't out here doing this crazy nonsense. Okay, so this is complete bull, and this is a pure ploy. This is a play to garner sympathy from the readers. They're trying to, and watch them end up saying something like in the future, if they don't do it already in this article, because I didn't read this article yet. Watch them say something like, "Oh, mental. He had some, I don't know, some kind of mental handicap, or he was emotionally challenged." They're gonna come up with some way to deflect and reason why this kid did what he did. Dude, I'm sorry. This was a kid who planned this out. He came prepared, with his equipment. He knew where he's going to be. He knew where he'd have a vantage point to be able to see Trump. And you also got to ask yourself, how did this kid get the skills to be able to pull this off, right? Because there was quite a bit of distance. There are when, I don't know how many of you guys have watched the movie Shooter with Mark Wahlberg, or maybe you have some experience yourselves with firearms, but there's quite a bit of different distance between where Trump was and where the shooter was. So number one, for this kid who was bullied in high school and didn't fit in with other students, to know where he could be, to be able to get a viewpoint of Donald Trump, to be essentially out of the view of Secret Servicemen while he got into position, and also have the skill to be able to pull off a shot where the accuracy was fairly high. He had to account for wind, elevation, travel, the rate of decline of the round. There were a lot of things that this kid took into consideration. So I'm sorry. You can blame this on whatever you want. This kid did what he did. That's all I'm saying. Thomas Matthew Crooks was registered, according to the article here, it says that Thomas Matthew Crooks, interesting last name, Crooks. Thomas Matthew Crooks, 20 years old, was registered to vote as a Republican and had previously made a small contribution to a democratically aligned group, according to public records. So it's kind of hard to say if he's a Republican or if he's a Democrat, or is he like an independent? It's kind of hard to tell. So far, investigators haven't found any evidence on social media or other writings by Crooks that might help identify his motive for the attempted assassination, law officials say. Well, I wonder if CNN had anything to do with it. CNN is constantly, basically pumping into the media. And it's not just CNN, it's MSNBC, it's all these other news outlets always trying to portray Donald Trump as a dictator, comparing Donald Trump to Hitler, and just this constant rhetoric that demonizes this political candidate to make people go off on the deep end. So I don't know, guys. It says here, Crooks lived in Pittsburgh suburb of Bethel Park, about 35 miles south of the Trump rally, where law enforcement officials say he fired at the former president. Crooks graduated from the Bethel Park High School in 2022, according to a local media report. Yeah, Crooks had no facial expression when he walked through the school hallways. He wasn't like with the clique, so he always had, I guess, a target on his back. And speaking of targets, Joe Biden, not too long ago, if I'm not mistaken, I could have sworn that he said something like, I think it's about time that Donald Trump, that a bullseye be put on Donald Trump. How do you get away with saying stuff like that, guys? I mean, seriously, How do you get away with saying stuff like that? Anyway, if you haven't already, please take a second, hit the like button for the video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys so much for sharing these videos. I really do appreciate you guys as always. And anyway, I've got so much more content to bring you guys. Again, thank you so much for your support. And I do look forward to hanging out with you guys on the next one.